Good Up is our space to talk about those experiences in life we didn't know we all had in common. We're the after work happy hour conversation with your best friend.
You good up bad, like, hello.
The place where you bring up the hard parts of life, the ones that made you laugh, and the things that made you who you are. Because who said becoming good up wasn't a little bit uncomfortable? Stay tuned for more information about this week's episode.
The following is a paid advertisement by Empath Psychological Services. This episode of the Good Up Pod is sponsored by Empath Psychological Services, locally owned, millennial-operated therapy for Virgin Islanders by Virgin Islanders. Here at the Good Up Pod, we're all about shedding light on life experiences that have contributed to who we are and learning to navigate them to find a feeling that's, well, good up.
For some of us, that journey includes therapy. Empath Psychological Services operates with the belief that life's challenges are not all of who we are.
They aim to create a non-judgmental environment to help their clients harness their own power and to find their path to mental well-being. Good Up and Empath Psychological Services share a passion for helping others navigate their own healing their way.
If you're interested in teletherapy services in the U.S. Virgin Islands or the state of Texas, check out the link in the description box for more information on how you can book a session with Empath Psychological Services. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Up Podcast, also known as your man favorite podcast. He listens to
and why
us
he
to
over
make
here?
Sure, why he over here?
Ask him.
Actually, he's over here because he's probably trying to be a bit more emotionally intelligent to be a better man to you, so don't get vexed with me. We're just doing
our job, we're just doing the Lord's work.
Today episode gonna be jokes. I see the title. You saw the title, and if you follow me on Instagram, you know exactly what the fuck we talking about.
Yeah, cause hey, I was not playing about that shit.
Listen, and I hope nobody takes offense to me saying high vibrational bitches because that's just the word I chose. Okay.
Well, it's not you didn't choose it. That wretched Coach Stormy chose it. The fuck,
Coach fucking Stormy.
Like what, girl? Yeah. Stop. There's nothing high vibrational about shaming people because shame is the lowest, and on some real shit, because y'all know I take this shit seriously, shame is the lowest vibration. So how you gonna use high vibration
because they don't know what they're talking about? How
you gonna use the lowest vibration to perpetuate a high vibration? That's bullshit. You ain't worth a damn. And fuck that. I don't fuck with that shit. I saw that shit, I was like, well, because I heard people talking about it. I'll be late to the party, right? I be doing what I be in my bubble, but I kept seeing random things on the internet about people looking forward to their high vibration Thanksgiving plates. Their low vibration Thanksgiving. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Now I know what a low vibration versus a high vibration plate of food is, right? But I don't know why it was a thing that people were talking about on the internet.
Because, okay, and let me give some background for
for those who
haven't seen the clip.
Yes.
So this clip went viral of this coach, and I'm using coach in fucking quotation.
Loosely.
We'll talk about this later. Loosely. This coach, her name is Coach Stormy. She hosted some kind of retreat for women. The food that she had catered for the retreat, they were eating. And the girl's plate that she was talking to had a bunch of food on it, right? Because bitches gonna eat. If I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat.
If I'm hungry, I'm finna eat.
So she, I guess, had more quote unquote high vibrational foods on her plate.
And she did not. I promise you she did not.
She didn't. And I can't even tell what was on the plate because listening to the conversation, I didn't even listen to the full clip because I have such a...
I remember she had barbecue chicken, corn on the cob. And I think that might have been it. If she had something else, it was one other thing. The only difference between her and that girl's plate was the portions. And that has nothing to do with vibration when it comes to food. But carry on.
So she essentially was lecturing this girl about her plate and basically saying, I would never let anybody put out on my plate. That's, you deserve better than that. Don't let nobody play you like that. And the girl was like, yeah, what my coach is telling me, it is the girl has sound just I hate to use the word sheep, but she had
it was giving sheep. It broke my heart, actually, watching that clip. It made me a little bit sad because y'all know I'd be so connected to people's inner child All I saw was a little girl looking for the approval of her mother.
Really, like
That's
that,
what I
and
saw looking at
but
that
that's how
fucking
it
clip.
came off. Like that lady was like lecturing her, and like not even a lecture. It wasn't even a lecture. It was her criticizing this girl's plate in front of everybody else and kind of making her the example.
Mm-hmm.
When and it pissed me off. So let's start what is really upset me. One, I don't fuck with people commenting on what other people eat
It's really
because
weird. It's very
diet culture
inappropriate.
is such a thing, and we have to be careful in terms of the lines we're treading when we talk to people about the foods that they eat,
Mm-hmm.
because you could fuck up somebody's relationship with food very easily.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
food is literally something that we use to sustain our bodies. So if
I,
you
can I get you to repeat that, because not enough people remember that.
yeah,
If
food
food
is
were an
literally
option,
how your
right?
body operates.
If food were an option, I could understand, right? The
Mm-hmm.
whole diet. But we literally have to eat in order for our bodies to continue functioning,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to eat. It
Yeah.
just is what it is. But carry on. I'm sorry. I just
So
needed. Ugh.
no, but you're right. Like it was frustrating me because she's sitting there in front of other people criticizing this person's plate. So not only is this person second guessing her choices on what she chose to eat, but you could easily make a person feel like not fucking eating at all because they felt like they
Yep.
made the wrong choice. I know
Mm-hmm.
from personal fucking
I
experience,
believe you.
right?
I believe you.
So that part pissed me off. But the funny thing is that the clip went viral because thankfully the masses were like, oh wow, this is fucking dumb. Like everybody thought that shit was so stupid, right? And it became this like running joke of like what foods are high vibrational versus what's not. So some people was like, hey, donuts are high vibrational because I don't feel fucking good when I eat that donut. And I thought that shit was so funny because people were like, they weren't so much making fun of, I mean, they were making fun of the term high vibrational, but they were also making fun of how she made herself out to be like
This
so much better
supreme
than this person.
being.
Yeah, this supreme being because she made, and then other clips from that retreat started going viral. And then you start to hear about how much those women paid to go to that retreat, right?
I heard they
Which
paid 10K. Is that real?
10K, 10K, right?
What?
Which in turn caused me to go on a rant on Instagram, which is how this episode came to be, because I was like, you bitches are scammers, you're criminals. Like
Yeah, I saw your. I
you're
was
not
dead.
you're not a life coach, you are a fucking scammer. Like
And you know what's funny? I'm glad you said that, because y'all know, for those who don't know, right? The work I do outside of this podcast, it's actually very parallel to like life coaching. My clients are
Mhm.
always asking, Deidre, are you putting together some sort of a coaching service? Like, I have clients who have legit been like, Deidre, I kind of would rather break up with my therapist and talk to you as often as I talk to my therapist. And I'm like, please don't do that. I'm not a licensed professional, babe. Like, I'm
Not yet,
begging you not
not
to.
yet.
Like, what we can do is we can sit together and break down what you and your therapist discussed. And maybe I could give you tools to bring to your therapist so you're better able to open up to your therapist, but please don't leave your therapist yet. Like, I gotta have my, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I said all that to say is I take that space very seriously. I am a healer. And so when I see people in spaces like that, and for them, they're clearly on like a power trip, and for them, it's about money, that rubs me the wrong way. Because one struggle that I've noticed with therapists, right? The real ones or coaches or whomever, the thing that they always struggle with is business, right? Because for them, they're in it for a purpose. They're in it to help people. And so when I see somebody who's a coach, right, but they have these exorbitant, like these crazy prices, and they're having all these different things with all the bells and whistles, that's a red flag to me, because I find like you're really good at the business side of it. So let me see the coaching side of it. Let me see the people side of it. And I don't know any reputable like coaches or anybody like that who are comfortable charging people the kind of money that these coaches charge people.
And that's my whole issue with this concept of a life coach, with this concept of a motivational speaker, right? I have a very serious part, and I understand that's my personal bias, right? And they're not all the same, because you just made a good point that it is needed, right? We need guidance from
We
other
need
people.
those people.
We need support from other people. There are people who have experienced things in life where when they come to you and they talk to you about it, it's helpful, right? My issue with motivational speakers, with life coaches, with girl bosses, they make their money off of manipulation.
Yep.
They make their money off of making people feel like my advice is the only advice. And in order for you to get to where you need to be in life, you
have to listen to me. A real leader, they don't expect you to follow them like sheep. A real leader empowers others. If you are working with a coach, a therapist, anybody, a mentor who is not focused on encouraging you to find that power within, anybody who implies or makes it seem as though they are better than you, more evolved than you, anything like that, anybody who feels like there's nothing for them to learn, please run. I am begging you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the truest form of knowledge and wisdom is knowing that there's always more to gain.
People know that I am a retired pageant queen, right? And the only pageant that I still have connection to is the one that I did in college. And that's because it has an extensive history, and it's normal within that pageant for the older queens to come back and mentor the newer ones, right? And every time there's a new baby, I call them new babies, that come in and they ask me like, oh my God, how did you do all of this? Like, how did you do it? I am always careful to come into that space and tell them like, yeah, I was falling apart while this was happening. I did not have my shit together. I feel like I did a great job, but at the same time, I used to cry all the time because I was so stressed out. And I'm very honest with them about it because I want them to understand that even though you see me as this person that did these great things, I was losing my fucking shit while I was doing it.
Because you don't want them to. Because the thing is if you're making it seem like, oh yeah, it was great, I did it, then what happens is what they hear is that they're doing something wrong. What they hear, and that's at least what they're going to think about themselves, right? They're going to think, because one thing that all of us have in common is when we're going through a certain struggle, we always think that we're the only person experiencing that struggle, or that our struggle is unique, when in fact it's not. So if you are more transparent about your struggles and they recognize like, okay, I'm okay, I'm exactly where I need to be, because guess what? At some point, they're going to be the ones telling the new babies, honey, I promise you, this shit was ghetto for me too.
Yeah, and my way of coaching them and mentoring them is how I, like you said, that's how I want them to approach the queens after them, right? And that's how I am with everything. I don't come on this podcast and drag myself all the time. I just come to this podcast like, we got our shit together. You need to get your shit together.
Why don't you?
I mean, sometimes
you're so low vibrational with your poorness.
Like, that shit doesn't. So let's dial it back a bit. What does high vibrational mean, Deidre? When someone says that, what does it actually mean? And are there high vibrational things or foods or energies or things like that?
Okay, what she was saying, so high vibrational food is absolutely a thing, right? She's misinterpreting what it means to eat a high vibrational meal. High vibrational foods are foods that your energy goes into in the making, right? So food that you have to take the time to chop up and fuel yourself with. It's also food that grows higher on trees, right? It's whole foods. It is the foods that actually like the foods that truly fuel your body, right? It's like eating for power, like eating, good example. It's like eating to live versus living to eat, right? So high vibrational foods, it's not going to include the barbecue sauce that was on her fucking chicken. It's not going to include all those extra bells and whistles that make it taste decadent. What it's going to do is fuel your body so that your body is running optimally. And the reason why it's like referred to as like high vibrational, aside from like its nutritional value and stuff, it's the time and energy you put into making it. It's like, it's more intentional, right? Like for instance, a salad would be a great example of something that's high vibrational, and not because it's a diet thing, right? But think about when you're making a true salad, right? Not a bag salad like I love, but when you have to go and get your lettuce or whatever multiple types of greens you're using, the time you have to take to wash those greens, right? And kind of dry them in your salad spinner or whatever, the time you're taking to chop those greens, the time you're taking to source what you want in this salad, the time you're taking to clean those things, chop them up, put this salad together, all those things, it's putting energy into your food. So that's what makes it high vibrational.
So
Is
the
the energy and
concept
intention.
is like intentional eating,
In
essentially.
eating,
Like,
exactly, it's eating intentionally, it's eating to properly nourish your body. You're also factoring in the time, energy, and effort that goes into making this food. That's why I said she's literally regurgitating something that she's heard, but she herself doesn't understand the concept of it,
yeah,
because
because the
if
difference
she
between the two plates was, like you said, portion size.
portion, that was the only difference. And in her, I think she either just doesn't understand what a high vibration plate of food is, but the reality is if she truly was eating intentionally and she believed in a high vibration food, she wouldn't have even catered that food. She would have probably catered options that, for one, really are going to fuel your body.
Or a
Okay.
chef who could teach
Or a chef
the
who,
attendees of the conference how to cook foods that are good and
exactly.
have good
She wouldn't have
nutritional
just
value.
simply had it catered. She would have had a segment of that conference where they are taught how to properly nourish their bodies in a high vibrational way. So that's why I'm just like, I resent when people hear something and don't take the time to learn about it and just regurgitate it because it sounds good, right? Because it sounds good to say, this is a high vibrational plate of food. But sis, the only difference between you and that girl's plate was the portion, because none of that food was high vibrational. None of it. Right? Like, what? Like,
So I want to go back to the part where you said she was regurgitating something because it sounded good, right? A couple of years ago, and this was around the same time when I was in undergrad, I went to, we used to have these thing called Speak Knowledge, where they would bring a famous person or somebody well known to our school, and they would give a speech or a lecture.
Yeah.
And one year they brought David Banner, and David Banner have his ways. He I don't agree with him on everything at all. But in that session, I remember he said something and the audience started to clap, and he said, "Don't clap." And everybody was like, "What the fuck?" He had said something that had kind of,
It was
had sound
profound.
good. It had sound good, right? And he said,
Yeah.
"Don't clap." He said, "You don't even know if there's truth to what I just said. It just sounded good to you." And the whole audience was like quiet.
See,
like, fuck.
that
And
I would be
remember being
clapping.
like, oh shit.
I would be on my feet clapping after he said that shit.
He said, you clapped because it sounded good to you, because the words I put together in your head was like, oh, that's a nice line. I might use that shit on my Instagram caption. Like, he was dragging us, but he was like, when you go in, when a speaker comes in front of you, or you go to a lecture, or even in your classrooms, you need to be questioning everything. When somebody says something and it sounds like a fact, you need to be researching that shit to make sure that what they said was truthful before you adopt that shit as your lifestyle or your life motto. He was
Facts.
like, even the art you consume, when an author says something or when a poet says something, just because it sounds nice don't mean you need to repost it because you believe that. You need to ask yourself if you actually believe that, right?
And if you're even living by that, right?
Exactly.
You have to do it. For me, whenever I come across things that just that move me and sound profound and I feel it in my body, I do a self-audit. Because I felt it for a reason and it resonated for a reason. And I do a self-audit to see, okay, that feels good and it sounds good, but how much of that actually applies to my life? And if it doesn't, what do I need to do for it to truly apply to my life, right?
Exactly.
And because he's right. I love that he said that. I love that he did that. And I really, I want to see more people do that and be that. That's very authentic.
Despite, he said a lot of shit that night that I was like, okay.
But that probably was like, damn.
It made me respect him because I was like, he understands that despite what he's saying, this is his belief. And I don't have to leave here being like, yeah, I agree with David Banner. Or like, and he was like, the other part of it is, somehow you're clapping because I'm David Banner. He was like, you're clapping because you know me from the internet, or you know me from music, and you feel the need to give me that respect. And he's like, and I appreciate it, but you don't know if what's coming out of my mouth is factual or
it's true.
if it's complete bullshit.
A lot of the time,
like,
people
question everything.
Because the thing is a lot of the time it's really just like, it's based on what little information we have about people. A lot of the time it's very much like an idea of like, a lot of our respect for people, especially public figures, comes from the little bits and pieces we get based on their job, right? Based on what they do. Yeah. And then we create these ideas of these people, right? Low key, right? And this is, you could cut this out if you want, right? What if Beyonce really be doing drugs all the time? What if Beyonce ass be doing all these drugs, right? And she could simply go on the fucking mic and say, don't need drugs for some freak shit. But she probably be high as fuck. But in our mind, our mystical goddess, queen, empress, right, could never. In our mind,
you pause, right? I was like, you could cut this out except she about to drug Beyonce.
and it's not, you know, I'm gonna never drag the queen, right? Like I fucks with Beyonce heavy, but we probably as the Beehive, because I'm a proud member of the Beehive. I'm not going the fuck. But we probably, as the Beehive, see Beyonce as this bitch who would never even consider drugs. But Beyonce probably be getting high as fuck. But we could never imagine her getting high because we respect her so much for all that she has done. Does that make sense?
It does, and I'm glad that you brought that up because sometimes I think we talked about it in a Renaissance episode where people were upset with her for putting out that song that was like, "I just quit my job," da 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 da.
And they saying she's cosplaying.
They were like, we can't relate to that, right? When it comes to people like Beyonce, I have a lot of admiration for her because of her artistry, but I try to make sure to separate that from who she is as a person.
Yes.
Because I don't know that woman.
We don't know her.
That woman.
We don't know her at all.
At the end of the day, there is a lot that I know she probably says and does behind the scenes that I wouldn't agree with as a person. So I try to make sure not to cape for Beyonce the person. Now, Beyonce the artist, you can't tell me shit about it.
You're not going to say shit to me about Beyonce the artist.
Because
nothing. But as a person, and you know what?
She's a great artist.
Exactly. We have proof. And even with that, right? I find myself, because I've had my debates with people about like Beyonce, and I find myself always debating the opposite end of it, because you'll have people who say they don't like Beyonce, and it's like, but why?
You don't know,
right? And for me, it's like, if you don't like her music, say that, but you can't say that you don't like her because you don't know her. And then they would decide they don't like her based on things regarding her career. And I'm like, so you, first of all, you literally don't know her, so you don't have a reason to not like her. But further to that, we know you can't say she's overrated, but it's weird to say you don't like her, right? We could say we love Beyonce the artist. Well, I love all people, right? But we love Beyonce the artist. We admire her. We adore her. But Beyonce the person, we don't know that bitch. We don't know her at all.
And let me tell you something, because fitting this back into the theme, Beyonce has had her scammer moments before, right? I'm gonna call it out. The whole everybody should be vegan shit, I was side-eyeing that bitch hard. I was like, okay, Giselle, let's
wait, was that like a partnership with like a food service or something, or wasn't she like preparing for a role or something? She was like,
I can't remember what the concept was, but she had gone vegan and she had lost all this weight, and now she was trying to encourage all of her fans to kind of do the same, right? And given if you found that this is a great lifestyle for you, be great. I'm happy for you. But it was giving scams and vibrations, because I was like, Beyonce, veganism is not for everybody. And veganism is not a reality for everybody, because there are people who live in food deserts who don't have access to organic food, who cannot be vegan. So,
and you know, the thing like is that I'm going to defend her in this regard, because she never said vegan, she said plant-based, because you have to be very careful with veganism and plant-based diets. It's essentially the same, but vegan is a full lifestyle where they don't even wear fur or leather or anything. Veganism fully protects animals in that not even the clothes they wear they don't use any animal products. The beauty, anything that they utilize does not contain animal products. So even I remember how even being careful to say plant-based versus vegan, because you could say you're plant-based and your diet may be vegan, but you probably still use like fucking beauty products that were tested on animals. You probably still wear sickening leather. You probably still wear snakes.
All of that is fair. All of that is fair, but she still got the side eye from me for that, because of this idea that because she had done something, she now kind of
she was excited. She wanted the best for the hive. I'm just being silly. I'm being silly. Please pay me no mind, because I'm on your side with it.
And I get it, because there are things that I've done in my life that I'll be like, yo, this really helped me. And I don't want to go on the internet and be like, this is something I'm trying. If you want to try it, cool. But in a position like she is, Beyonce know that the hive doing whatever the fuck Beyonce says to do. So people like that. So there are people who get a following and get respect and get people to kind of fall into their ways of life.
You're gonna be vexed with me.
Platforms that they have.
You're gonna be so vexed with me, right?
You went on plant-based after that?
No.
Oh,
I was like, good for you, B. No. I just had, I'd be in my head, right? I'm a Pisces moon. I'd be imagining all kind of, what if Beyonce simply lost a bet, and because of the amount of power she has, she knew she she could, like, what if it was some dumb shit, like she was really just playing with people? Because she had a whole fucking segment on Good Morning America. We thought this bitch was gonna be on them people's stage. She was on her iPhone talking some, hey y'all, I'm plant-based now, y'all should do it too.
Yeah.
It was like, she had the whole fucking Beehive hype to see she on Good Morning America. She hadn't, Beyonce had not been doing interviews for years at this point. I think this was right around Lemonade, right? Was it right before or after Lemonade? It might have been before Lemonade. It was after. But we're thinking she have some, because it's like Beyonce is gonna be on Good Morning America with this big announcement. We're thinking this bitch got a sickening project for us. We thinking Beyonce.
I changed my diet.
We thinking this bitch gonna be on them people's stage. We're excited. We haven't seen her on a talk show in years. This bitch is on her iPhone talking about something. I'm plant-based. Y'all should do it too. What the fuck, Beyonce? I think she lost a bet. I think she would probably try and help out one of her friends who had just opened a random restaurant or some fuck. It don't make sense. Because then the Beehive was clocking her, because like a year or two later, a random picture was posted on her Instagram and somebody saw like a pizza and they're like, I thought she was vegan.
I mean, shit the change. And if her life changed after that, good for you. But the I think the difference is, right? So let me dial it back because I've been dragging Beyonce. But I think the difference is that even though she was like, hey, this thing is great and I've been trying it, Beyonce also didn't come out and say, oh, I gotta eat meat. Damn. Like
that part,
disappointed in yourself, right?
That's true. She definitely didn't drag us.
And I think that's the line for me when it comes to like motivational speakers and all these like girl but it's like there's a tone to it. There is a tone that a lot of you have where it's like, if you ain't living this life, you ain't shit. You ain't shit. And it's very manipulative. And I could see how I am making money off of that shit, because somebody who does not have their life together and is very, and I gonna say does not have their life together with quotes, because who gets to decide that? But also, they might be very insecure about it. And if you're telling me and you're putting on this image on social media that you've gotten your shit together, and you're trying to convince me that the only way I could is to give you money in my mental state that I am.
It's very weird. It's so predatory. You know what it is? It's predatory. It's very predatory. And that's why I always say, pay attention to those, like, because y'all know I believe heavily in getting the bag, right? I believe that we all have a right to earn a living based on our gifts and talents, right? But I draw the line at exploiting people. I have a structure set up where if you want my services, you're going to pay for it. But there's a part of me that still wants to be accessible. I can't imagine knowing that people are in a vulnerable space and then like gatekeeping, right? And that's how you could tell the difference between like somebody who truly wants to help people and people who just know that this is easy money. Because even the people who can afford me, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just tell them, oh, just book a reading every other week and we're gonna talk. And that's weird and predatory.
And you're not promising that their lives are going to get better. And I noticed, because I am one of your clients, and every reading that we've ever had, or anytime you've ever given me advice in that way, it's always take what you need to take from this, but this is on you. Like, this is work for you to do. And you've never said, if you meditate 3 times and sage your house, your life gonna get better.
Because that's not how this works. It's because at the end of the day, you have, first of all, for me, my ultimate goal and my purpose in what I do is to empower everyone to find that within themselves, to understand that life has its ups and downs. And at the end of the day, you're here for a reason, and you have ways to figure out how to navigate these ups and downs. I'm not the solution to your problems, babe. You are. You're the key. You are the key. You have the keys. I'm just here to kind of clear the smoke and help you find them. I'm not I'm people who make it seem like, girl, it's me. Without me, how you gonna do this shit? Run from them. Like, even those who have improved their lives, because I've improved my life in so many ways, significantly, right? But it's because it was my life to improve. I can't use that as a way to lure you to come, right? And say, this is how you improve your life. You got to come work with me. Because a lot of the times people who end up working with people like that, they really don't have anything to show for it after the fact. And even when they say they do, what happens is what it is it becomes a codependent relationship where they are depending on that person. And then they somehow find themselves needing the approval of that coach or whomever when they come. You have to be able to make big decisions on your own. And a lot of people who work with these coaches and stuff, they end up always leaning to that person when they have like a big decision to make. And it's like
it works the same way for like social media coaches. It works the same way for dating coaches. All of these femininity coaches that are coming out. That's the other thing. You have to be wary of people who, one, think that their advice is the be all end all and that it's going to guarantee you anything, because life is out of our control. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with how people give this advice and what they're asking of you in order to get advice. Social media is a good example of that. It get people who don't want to charge for all these social media guides and hashtag guides and this and this and that. I had an ebook at one point, right, for social media. And I remember in writing my ebook, at the end of it, I literally said, I am not guaranteeing you more followers here.
Right.
Right. I am telling you how to make the most of your social media presence so that you can enjoy it, so that you have a great presence online. But I'm not guaranteeing that you will have 10K followers by the end of it, because I don't have fucking 10K followers. And the reality is, hey, I never hit her 10K followers, which I still salty about, but it's okay. Because Instagram changes, the algorithm changes, social media websites do what they want. So there's no guarantee of how you succeed on social media, right?
Exactly.
There's ways to do it better, but there's no guarantee, because if people don't like your content or if people don't relate to it and you never find your niche or your audience, and you didn't find it. I wasn't out here charging $100 to guarantee you social media success, but there are high vibrational bitches out here who are scams.
What was the word you said on your story? High vibrationality.
High vibrationality.
I really
send me Deidre because they like, you should be in jail.
Yeah, these people, they're full-blown scammers. Like, they're entire scammers.
People's livelihoods, and that's the part that pissing me off. And I ranting, so I go try and cut myself.
No, I am, but hey, Isa, I'm truly astounded that people spent $10,000. I'm just like, what? And then, you know, the sad thing is but look at this. These people think that they don't have their lives together. They spend $10,000 to learn how to do whatever, right? Imagine what they could have done with that $10,000 to truly get their lives together. Imagine somebody at that retreat who is super talented at something, and it never occurred to them that this talent, if they invested that $10,000 into that talent, that $10,000 would have multiplied many times over. And that's the sad thing. And that's why I don't fuck with people like that, because it's like, you're not empowering these people, right?
You're taking advantage of their vulnerability.
You're literally preying on their vulnerabilities. It is very disturbing to me. You know, it's so funny because the alignment is giving. Because I just got done listening to an episode of The Friend Zone where they talked about this lady who pretty much decided that she was going to be like a bishop of a church or something. She created all these scamming ass churches. She created this like cult-like community with a bunch of women who were basically down bad. She had these girls working. She was beating their asses and all this shit, all because she craved a certain level of power. And what's happening is with these coaches and shit, and I'm about to get in my spiritual bag, so y'all gonna get a little mad at me, but I'm about to get a little bit preachy, right? A lot of these coaches, these self-proclaimed teachers and gurus, what it is they themselves have been disempowered for so long that they learn how to put on a mask. They learn something on a surface level. They implement it in some fashion. They, like I said earlier, regurgitate it. They put themselves on a pedestal because they don't care to help people. They care to be praised.
Yeah.
They care to be worshipped.
Yeah.
They
want
want
here to make you better.
They're not here
to get you closer to God or to help
not
you
at all.
lose weight or to help you grow.
They're not here to help you with shit. They're here for praise and recognition because they probably didn't get it in their childhood. And then because they're so power hungry, they can't even just say, I'm gonna just work a regular job, right? So now they have to figure out how to make money. They're preying on the people who are okay working a regular job, right? Yeah. They're shaming them for working a regular job. They're creating these pyramid schemes. They're bringing these people on. They're taking all these people's money. They're giving them bullshit and then telling them that they're low vibrational. Like,
and it's crazy because the difference between most of those people and the people that they're taking advantage of is like a stroke of luck for most of those situations. Like, Be Simone is a good example of that. B Simone is literally what'll make me go on my fucking tangents on motivational speakers and girl bosses, because a lot of these women will come out and be like, oh, I have my shit together and you need to pay me so I could tell you how to get your shit together. And they get invited to all of these conferences to make all of these speeches to women who likely work 10 times fucking harder than them.
Absolutely.
And they got to where they were, especially in her case, because you had a viral video that turned into more viral videos that then turned into your platform. And now you can say, oh, I work really hard. I don't sleep. I don't work a 9 to 5. I would never date him.
Right. I'm not dating a man that works.
It's because one video went viral. Because
one video went viral. And the other thing to factor in is we have to remember everybody's destiny is different. And this is why these scammers that call themselves coaches are getting away with this, because they're selling a dream to people that's not, like, these people are investing in something that they think is meant for them, but it's not. And that's why, and it's so funny because I just posted this on my Instagram yesterday. Self-mastery is the real key to success. Honestly, right? Truly. Because if you over here chasing how that person succeeded, meanwhile, what's meant to get you to success is much different than theirs. So you have a plant here that's dying. You over here watering somebody else's plant. Your plant is fucking dying. What you're supposed to do to succeed is not being invested in or nurtured or poured into, because you over here watering somebody else's shit. Not everybody's destiny is different, and you over here you're chasing success based on that person's destiny, and you're not investing in your own destiny or even learning your own destiny. Exactly. Everybody is meant
$10,000 to go to a fucking conference to eat some barbecue chicken when you could have paid for therapy, bitch. Therapy.
You could have paid for therapy. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the frustration that's coming in with coaching, because somewhere along the lines, like you said, coaching has somehow turned into these pyramid schemes, because coaching it's basically therapy without like the licensing that therapy has, right? Mm-hmm. You can't get you can't be like diagnosed or prescribed anything, but coaching is supposed to guide you through a specific area of life, right? There's different forms of coaching. I'm working on my trauma-informed coaching certification. Like, as we speak, that's what I'm working toward and investing in. There's coaching for different things, right? And coaching is similar to therapy. Coaching is not meant to become this fucking empire, right?
And where Deidre, like, you walk in to make sure that you are certified to be able to talk about the things that you need to talk about.
And that's literally it.
In therapy, you're also doing the work on your own end, and you ain't gonna just walk into a room and be like, I have the skills to tell you to get your shit together without you having also done the work to heal your own traumas.
So, hey, Isa, first of all, thank you for that, because I intended, when I knew we were doing this episode, I intended to make sure to dedicate time to let you guys know, for those who may be seeking counseling, therapy, or coaching services, don't let these internet situations, these viral sensations, discourage you from utilizing those services, because these services are beneficial to many. For some people, therapy is not a good fit, but coaching is, right? Mm-hmm. There are coaches that exist that are amazing, that do what they do because they are actual people who care about the collective. Don't go to a coach that does not have a therapist or coach of their own. Don't go to if you're going to let's say you're going to a personal trainer. Don't go to a personal trainer that doesn't train themselves frequently. Don't go to a therapist that doesn't have actually, therapists are required to have a therapist. Therapists are required to go through a certain amount of therapy during their training and their college years.
You mentioned physical trainers, because you know what's my, like, where I draw the line for trainers?
What?
I always look at their social media presence, and I always pay attention to how they talk about fat people and food. Right? And if it's a trainer who makes fatness out to be the worst fucking thing in the world,
don't work with them. Don't work with them.
Like, if you eat a pizza on a Saturday but you've been eating healthy the rest of the week, that somehow you fuck up your diet, I'm not giving you my money, because I know,
because you're not training for the right reasons. You're not you're training based on aesthetic. You're not training based on wellness, right? So you find when you're finding people to guide you, right? Because at the end of the day, none of us are perfect. We need guidance in something. So when you're finding somebody to guide you through something, you find somebody who also has a guide, or who at the very least has worked with guides that have put them in a position, but also somebody who's living it. Find somebody who's living it. Don't be working with no coaches that like,
Stop charging people thousands of fucking dollars for your services, please. Like, I fully understand you should charge what you're worth, right? You should absolutely charge what you're worth. When it comes to Good Up, when we have businesses that come to us and they want to sponsor us and they want to pay for advertisement, when we have our Patreon, we charge what we're worth, right? We need to make money to operate this podcast at the end of the day. So I fully understand that people have to charge money to make a living.
Yes.
But some of you need to get reported to the police. Some of you need to be in jail. 5 to 10 years, super max, because you out here fucking wilding. So, and it gonna have to be me. I gonna have to just start like.
So you know what? Because this is a conversation that I've had with other spiritualists who charge a certain amount of money for their programs and stuff. The reality is you're aligning yourself with the appropriate market, right? Because there are people who cannot afford these services, but there are plenty of people who can. So the reality is like you said, is charging your worth, and there are people who are worth some of these prices, right? But they are aligning themselves with the people who could drop a bag on this service, and it's not going to be nothing for them. In Stormy's case, that lady's a full-blown scammer because her target audience, her market are everyday people. I can't even imagine the kind of sacrifices these women made to be able to drop that 10K. Some of these ladies clearly maxed out credit cards.
It's giving Fire Festival. It really is.
Well, at least they made it to the destination. At least they got a plate of food.
Intense and drink water from cool ass teacher.
No, I'm talking about the girls for Stormy. At least they got their food.
That's fair. That's fair.
The Fire Festival was
it's still very much Fire Festival.
Regardless, the point is like in Stormy, like that. I'm sorry, that 10,000 is rubbing me the wrong way because, like, for me, right, I know the kind of people I'm working with. I'm working with people who are really digging themselves out of the trenches, right? And let's be clear, my client base is not like no down bad poor people like monetarily, right? But it's everyday people. It's also people who do have a lot of healing to do. And that healing requires a lot of time and energy. And that's why I have been working to create ways to be more accessible, right? Because
that's so important.
Yeah.
Like, it's not everybody will not be able to pay the prices that you charge. And you need to ask yourself, why am I doing the work that I do? Is it for people who can only afford me, or is it so that people who need this type of work have access to it?
Exactly.
Like, and that's Patreon is a good example, right?
Yes.
At one point we had tiers, right? We had a low tier, a mid tier, and a high tier, and the only people receiving certain type of content depended on the tier they were on. And one day I was just like, okay, but at the end of the day, these are people who want to contribute to the podcast, and they're doing it within their income range and what they can afford every month. So why the fuck wouldn't I give them all access to the same?
Give them, the fact that they want to pay us for this.
And they don't have to.
They literally don't have to.
Is that they did not have to support the podcast financially, but they chose to. So in my mind, I was like, okay, well, regardless, no matter what. By the way, it's patreon.com/goodupodcast. If you pay to join our Patreon, you have the same access to things as everybody else, because we're not here to make money. We have to make money to operate the podcast. But we also do this podcast because we love it, and because
we really do love it, like, and this is our way of, let me tell you something. One of like part of, and this is everybody's like responsibility here on earth, but it's going to look different for everybody, but it's something I believe heavily in. It's something that I instill in Dylan. We are here to do our part to leave the world better than it was when we got here, right? And there's so many people in the world. If everybody took their little nuggets of that, their tiny versions of that, and did that, the world would be a better place, right? So for me and Hey Isa, it's this podcast, right? It is me making sure that I raise a son who's not going to be mistreating people, especially women. It's me making sure that I'm taking good enough care of myself and investing in my emotional wellness, that when I'm communicating with others, I don't leave a fucked up impact on them. It's me knowing how to regulate my emotions so that when other people are going through their shit and they take it out on me, I don't continue to perpetuate that, right? It's all those little things. My favorite quote, I mean, it's not my favorite, I have a lot of favorites, but, and this is kind of like it's loosely like the quote, but basically, if everybody minded their own doorstep and swept in front of their own house, the whole world would be clean. Exactly. If I'm focused on my space and I'm keeping my front yard clean, right, and the person next to me is keeping their front yard clean, that space in front of their home, and so on and so forth, the whole block is going to be clean. And that's not just on a literal sense with your home, but that's just even just you as a person. You take care of you, you find ways to enjoy life and appreciate what life has. You do that, the person next to you does that, we spread that. That's how we make the world a better place. The fuck? We don't charge people $10,000 motherfucking dollars.
Like, I would like some of you and be so much more supportive of the work that you do a whole lot more if you would just shut the fuck up and be a nice person about it. Like, some of you are doing great work, but I can't support it because
of the approach.
You speak to people is fucking wild. Like,
it's wild. It's
and with
so
that being
wild.
said, stop fucking scamming. You think that you're coming off as successful, but what you're coming off as is
arrogant and nasty and mean. And we just don't like that.
Mid-ass vibrations. And
you said mid vibrations?
Mid vibrations.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you to our sponsor.
Yep. Shout out to Empath Psychological Services for sponsoring this episode and every other episode towards the end of the season. And shout out to our patrons. We love our body. You can become a patron and join the Good Up VIP section by visiting www.patreon.com/gooduppodcast. It's completely optional. Nobody forcing you. And whether or not you join, your vibrations high, bitch.
I was just about to say, y'all are high vibrational as fuck.
Connect with us on social media at using hashtag GoodUpTuesday or at GoodUpPod. We actually are on Facebook. We have an actual Facebook page that says Good Up. So add us on Facebook. We will love you bad if you add us on there. And yeah, season is going great so far.
Thank you guys.
Go walk, so I gotta let you.
I do. I gotta go to my ghetto ass job. Listen, I work a job, so I don't have to charge y'all $1,000.
I'm going walk.
I gotta go. Bye. Right. I love y'all.
We love y'all. DJ, tell the people and bye.
Bye.
Good Up is hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Hey Isaac Quinones Ivory. Find us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Use hashtag GoodUpTuesday to continue the conversation and get access to exclusive bonus content at patreon.com/gooduppodcast.